Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back with another track guide, but this time it's a special one. Rather than me doing the track guide for you, we have Gianni Lutzu, one of the fastest guys on the iRacing sim. He is 10.5k iRating. He is a real-world driver, and he is a great driver coach. So I have put a link in the description if you do want to get yourself some coaching from Gianni. We are, of course, in the Ferrari 296 Challenge Edition at Spa Francorchamps, and that is the Grand Prix layout, which is where the 296 Challenge Series will be going next week. As normal, we'll do a hot lap and breakdown, and we'll be back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Any questions? Let me know in the comments. Right, let's start. Right, let's start the hot lap. So, smashing it down, the start-finish straight, and just at about the 150, you're going to start braking really hard, going to trail it off, turn in late, get on the gas. We're using second gear rather than first here. And a big difference to the GT3 car, we are not going to be able to do a Rouge flat. About midway, we're in 6th gear, big lift, in the corner, still midway. And look at that, we're already 10 kilometers an hour faster than the GT3 is at the end of the straight. Now we're 20 kilometers faster. Just after the 200, well, about at the 150 mark, braking really hard, down to 4th gear, down to 3rd, back on the gas, big lift in 4th gear, back on the gas smoothly. Going to start braking at the 100 meter board here, and again, it's a long trail off. You have to come away from the curve because you're looking for a late apex, back over to the right hand side, dab on the brakes in 4th, smoothly picking back up on the accelerator there. The 100 meter board, that's when you on the brakes as we come on to Pouon, and just waiting and waiting. Got to be so patient to get back up to full throttle. Just after the 100, going into 12, picking it up in 3rd gear, big lift, and then back on the gas nice and early, exiting wide up to 4th gear, over to the left hand side. If you notice, we're braking earlier each time than we would in the GT3. Still having to do a lift in 4th gear as we go around turn 15. Curve Paul Ferreira. That's brother. And again here, as we go through Blanchimont, turn 17, big lift. He even touches the brakes, as you see. And we're getting on the brakes more or less at that ad hoarding that was over us. Picking up the gas in 2nd gear. And over and across the line in a 2:14.334. Right, let's do the breakdown. Right, breakdown lap. So the first braking marker, normally it would be the 100 in the GT3, but we're going to get on the brakes earlier than that, more or less, once we get to the end of this sort of retaining wall on the left-hand side. There's that little marshal looking at us. So as we go through there, we're braking really hard, right up to nearly 100%, wiping all that speed off. And as you can see, we've done that, and now we're doing almost a 90-degree turn. Your left hand totally over your right hand before picking back up on the gas. This bit straightforward as we run through the gears. So we go through the first apex flat. Now there's a big lift before the second apex, so almost down to 30%, and then back on the gas as we get to this next apex. We crest it flat out, and again, same line that we do in the GT3. Right, we would normally be braking at the 100 board in the GT3, and there isn't a 150 board here, but it's roughly where we would brake. So we've gone through the 200, and now we're going to get on the brakes ahead of the 100 board. And again, he's braking up to nearly 95% there, wiping all that speed off, coming down on the gears, still in 4th gear, and he's still reducing his brakes all the way down to the apex. Now he's dropped it into 3rd. Big blast of, well, only up to about 30% throttle, and now a lift again before really getting his foot down. So he sacrifices the exit there or the entry there, because he wants to be nice and wide, as you can see here, going into turn 7. Big lift again, wanting to take a huge amount of curb, as you can see, and now back onto full gas. The 100 meters is going to be, again, the braking point here. So in the GT3, it would be the curbing coming up, but it's this marshal on the 100 meters that's going to let us know to get on the brakes, again, up to nearly 90%, wiping all that speed off. Almost kisses the first apex, then comes out nice and wide. He's still on the brakes, come well away from the curbing, as you can see, because we lack the downforce, the GT3s, and now gets on back to 100% really early here. That allows him to get over to the right-hand side, and just as he hits the curb, he's back on the brakes up to about 45%. Trails it off down to the apex, starts building back up in 4th gear, but doesn't really get to 100% till he opens up the steering. It's going to be roughly the 100-meter board on the right-hand side. The braking zone is here to go into Puon. And again, braking up to about 75%, so braking a lot harder because the brakes are a lot smaller than the GT3s. Trailing it off down to the apex here. And now, again, it's just a gradual build-up. So normally, if we're in a GT3, we would be up to 100% here, but we're not. It's just gradually adding that pressure until you reach 100, more or less at the second apex. Back over to the left-hand side. And we're looking at just after the 100-meter board to be braking as we come into turn 12. Braking up to about 80%, trailing it off again down to the apex here. Dropping it down to 3rd gear. And again, back on the gas. And then a big lift to get through turn 13. And again, getting back on the gas. The braking mark is a tricky one here because there's no signs, but it's more or less the end of this, the railing on the right-hand side. So braking up to about 75%, and again, trailing it off, really taking some curving on the right-hand side in 3rd gear and getting back onto at least sort of half, 2/3 pressure on the apex. Big lift going through 15. And again, a big lift going through 17, simply because we've got so much more power and we don't have additional downforce. So on the turn-in, he just dabs the brakes, only up to like 5%, and then gets back onto 100% the apex. And again, this crowd strike banner just above us is going to be our braking point as we come up to the bus stop chicane, braking all the way up to 100%, wiping that speed off, still trailing the brake off down to the first apex, then on the gas up to about 50%, and then a lift, and then back on the gas again at the apex, not hitting up to 100% until the steering wheel has unwound, and over and across the line, as I say, in a 2:14.334. Right, we've got one final version coming up next with the driving line on. Without me talking, enjoy.